Today is Saturday, February 14th, 2026, year of our Lord, or whatever year it is in the timeline. It's the 32nd anniversary for when my sister and I don't 4 or 5 other girls were hit by a car. I was a senior in high school and she was a freshman in high school. They all survived, but every February 14th, I think of that. So I'm glad my sister's still alive and all the other girls survived. It's an interesting day. It's Psalm 118:24. Today is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. I like the we. I've been thinking about appropriate places to find community. There is a church that I like to go to here. I like the organ and the bells and the music that they play. And a friend of mine goes there, she sings in the choir sometimes, which is really fun. I'm not sure about finding community at church. That makes me a little hesitant based on my previous experience. I think it's a big step for me to even be going into churches because I didn't do that for a long time. So it's progress, not like one step at a time kind of thing. But I didn't make like the library. I love books. I talked to my friend Jenna last night for about 2 hours, over 2 hours on the phone. We had so much fun talking. She was hanging out with another friend. They were making dinner, and I was talking. It was really fun. It didn't feel quite so lonely after I had visited with Jenna and her friend. But I was thinking, I sent her a picture of all these books that I it's because all of a sudden I was talking to her 2 hours, and then I looked at all these. I mean, it's out of control. So, what does that mean? That means that I probably should be enjoying my books and taking time to do these things that I want to do. I'm not going to take as much time this morning doing my devotion reading because I want to go up to the office while I still have it and read all the books of the Bible in front of my wall of communism. So, I ask the internet or Google or whatever. I'm a Luddite, it doesn't matter. I ask my phone via whatever robot is controlling things how many hours it takes to read Genesis aloud and Matthew aloud. It said Genesis 3.5 to 4.5 hours. It said Matthew 3 hours. So I don't think I need to do as much Bible reading this morning, but I also want to have I think it's important to have my morning devotions where I pray and I read a, a set of inspirational stuff. And yeah, I'm going to go get myself a breakfast sandwich and I'm going to get some exercise. And I'm going to go to the office and hopefully read one of the books of the Bible and then see my daughter. She has plans with her boyfriend, but I could see her after work before she takes off. And then I could read another book of the Bible and I could have a wonderful day myself. Today is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. That's really what I want to do, spend my day doing. Eating a nice breakfast sandwich, getting some exercise outside in the cold, reading the first 2 books of the Bible, the first book of the Old Testament, the first book of the New Testament, feel like I'm taking the first steps towards the rest of my life. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. If I like books so much, I should be probably spending time at the library, doing some activities there and finding other people who are drawn to books. If I like art and creative stuff so much, I should probably be spending more time at museums, finding people who like the same kind of things. If I love Jesus, and I do, in the Bible, I probably should be going to church someplace where at least I can, it's we. We will rejoice and be glad in it. So the things that I rejoice in, I should be doing with other people. That's what I'm taking. And it's a commandment. Psalm 118:24. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. James Lindsay, one of my favorite mathematicians and favorite, I don't know if he's still an atheist. He was one of my favorite atheists. He did a little short about Psalm. I don't know if it's a short. I don't know. He did some little thing I listened to. It was pretty short. I think it was less than 15 minutes. And I don't know if it was for subscribers or not because I'm subscribed. But it was lovely. It's about Psalm 118:24 being a commandment. And I have been reciting it to myself, maybe incorrectly, maybe misquoting. I have been practicing cultivating the fruits of the Spirit, practicing faith, and also practicing honoring that commandment from Psalm 118:24. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. I have been rejoicing, but now I'm realizing the we part is, yeah, it is. I'm supposed to find community with the things I like to do. And I do like to hike, and I like outdoor things, but not too adventurous. I'm not a big risk taker. Like, but I'm also not afraid like I was because yeah, I should, I also, that would be fun too. If I remember to bring a red pen back so that I have a proper red pen to work on my anti-fear Bible because I want all of the verses with fear underlined with red pen. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Okay, so I'm going to read scripture later, so I'm going to just read some of this other good stuff now. My dad's quote book. A word of encouragement during a failure is worth more than a whole book of praise after a success. Bits and pieces. Success is getting up just one more time than you fall down. Soundings, Volume 1D, Number 1B. The secret of success is constancy of purpose. Benjamin Disraeli. Our greatest glory consists not in never falling, but in rising every time that we may fall. Oliver Goldsmith. I have no idea where my dad got some of these quotes, but I'm reading how he's got them in there. I think, I hope, unless I make the mistakes, which is probable and possible too. Tomorrow's page is good. I already looked at it. I hope that this. I hope that the volume is okay. I hope the sound is okay. Okay. I'm going to start with this book so that I can stack it back up. Rick Rubin, Creative Act. I highly recommend buying it. I've bought multiple copies because I'm crazy about books. And I have them all over the place. I have one at my office, and then I had one at my ex-boyfriend's house, but then, and I've given them to other people. So, great expectations. When beginning a new project, we're often met with anxiety. It visits almost all of us, no matter how experienced, successful, or well prepared we might be. In facing the void, there is a tension of opposites. There is an excitement for the possibility something great may be realized, and dread it might not. As a result, is out of our control. The weight of our expectations can grow heavy, as does the fear that we are not up to the task at hand. What if we can't pull it off this time? What helps to keep these worries at bay and move forward is a trust in the process. When we sit down to work, Remember that the outcome is out of our control. If we are willing to take each step into the unknown with grit and determination, carrying with us all of our collected knowledge, we will ultimately get to where we're going. The destination may not be one we've chosen in advance. It will likely be more interesting. This isn't a matter of blind belief in yourself, it's a matter of experimental faith. You work not as an evangelist, expecting miracles, but as a scientist, testing and adjusting and testing again, experimenting and building on the results. Faith is rewarded, perhaps even more than talent or ability. After all, how can we offer the art what it needs without blind trust? We are required to believe in something that doesn't exist in order to allow it to come into being. When we don't yet know where we are going, we don't wait. We move forward in the dark. If nothing we attempt yields progress, we rely on belief and will. We may take several steps backwards in the sequence to move ahead. If we try 10 experiments and none of them work, we have a choice. We can take it personally and think of ourselves as a failure and question our ability to solve the problem, or we can recognize we've ruled out 10 ways that don't work, bringing us that much closer to a solution. For the artist whose job is testing possibilities, success is as much ruling out a solution as finding one that works. In the process of experimentation, we allow ourselves to make mistakes, to go too far, to go even further, to be inept. There is no failure, as every step we take is necessary to reach our destination, including the missteps. Each experiment is valuable in its own way if we learn something from it. Even if we can't comprehend its worth, we are still practicing our craft, moving ever so much closer to mastery. With unshakable faith, we work under the assumption that the problem is already solved. The answer is out there. Perhaps it's obvious. We just haven't come across it yet. Over time, as you complete your projects, this faith in experimentation grows. You're able to hold high expectations, move forward with patience, and trust the mysterious unfolding before you, with the understanding that the process will get you where you're going, wherever that reveals itself to be, and the magical nature of the unfolding never ceases to take our breath away. Isn't that fun? So much fun. It's really good and inspiring. Except I don't like reading it first. I actually have an order I prefer to read things in, and I am not doing that today because I thought I would be more clever than my preference. Oh well, that's okay, Emily. I really like to read the littlest book first, but it doesn't stack the best. So, there are trade offs in life. You have to decide what you want to do. So do I. February 14th, from the Little Al-Anon Courage to Change One Day at a Time book. Confusion can be a gift from God. Looking back on instances when I felt desperately in need of an immediate solution, I can see that often I wasn't ready to act. When I became fully ready, the information I needed was there for the taking. When I know too much about my options before the time is right to exercise those options, I tend to use the information only to drive myself crazy. That's why today, when I'm feeling confused, I try to consider it grace. It may yet not be time for me to act. I think that dealing with confusion will be like cooking. If the bread isn't done, I don't take it out of the oven and insist that it's time to eat. I let it finish baking. If a clear solution to a problem hasn't shown itself yet, I can trust that it will appear when the time is right. Today's reminder. I will thank my higher power for whatever I experienced today, even if I feel troubled or confused. I know that every experience can offer me a gift. All I have to do is be willing to look at my situation in the light of gratitude. Everything has its wonders, even darkness and silence. and I learn whatever state I may be in therein to be content. Helen Keller. I like this little book. I like to read that one first, and then because it seems to set the tone for the other, for like, it's what I need. Okay, so Vincent, exactly. I love Vincent. To know how to suffer without complaining, that's the only practical thing. That's the great skill, the lesson to learn, the solution to life's problem. Like me, who can count so many years in my life when I completely lost all inclination to laugh? I, for one, need above all just to have a good laugh. That's why I think it's okay when I chuckle so hard at the Bible sometimes. I think that the Lord delights in me like a child. And I think that when I laugh hysterically at things that I don't think are supposed to be funny in the Bible, that's okay too. One of my travel companions on the trip to Kilimanjaro said that she believes that zebras are proof God has a sense of humor. And I like that. I like that sentiment a lot. Zebras were always my favorite animal when I was a kid, and I love black and white. And I love the idea that zebras are God's sense of humor, or proof of God's sense of humor. Do right and don't look back, and things will turn out well. Well, Mr. Vincent van Gogh, to Theo, Thursday, April 30th, 1874, in London. Do right and don't look back, and things will turn out well. Tao Te Ching, the Tao that can be spoken. It's not okay. Number 30. Use Tao to help rule people. This world has no need for weapons, which soon turn on themselves. Where armies camp, nettles grow. After each war, years of famine. The most fruitful outcome does not depend on force, but succeeds without arrogance, without hostility, without pride, without resistance, without violence. If these things prosper and grow old, this is called not Tao. Not Tao soon ends. I don't know that I did such a great job of reading that one. Yes, that's okay. So, mhm. I did. If these things prosper and grow old, not Tao soon ends. That's like it's like me saying I'm like that's what I figured out. I'm not God. I thought I had a lot more power to make things nice. Actually, I had nice written on the back of my hand and I couldn't figure out why. But I think it's because I wanted to see if nice. I'm getting this list of words that are not in the King James Bible, which I'm really enjoying. But I also don't want to make a mess of things if I can help it. See, I don't know if this is gonna. Nice. Night. No, of course. There is no nice in the King James Bible. There is no appropriate in the King James Bible. There is no there is no villain in the King James Bible, but there is villainy. There is no disgust in the King James Bible. There is no disrespect in the King James Bible. So there's no nice either. I should put that on my list. That's fine. So I'm really having so much fun. I really am. Okay, I've got a lot of work to do today though because I have a lot that I want to do. I want to read a lot of Bible, so I've got to get my other morning reading done. I feed myself and take good care of my body so that I can have the strength to do what it is that I want to do. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations, number 10. The literary critic Alexander, not to be constantly correcting people, and in particular, not to jump on them whenever they make an error of usage or a grammatical mistake or mispronounce something, but just answer their question or add another example, or debate the issue itself, not their phrasing, or make some other contribution to the discussion and insert the right expression unobtrusively. It's, that's nice. I'm going to read 11 too so I can turn the page. Fronto. To recognize the malice, cunning, and hypocrisy that power produces, and the peculiar ruthlessness often shown by people from good families. That's, well, sometimes these are like little mic drops in the morning. It is morning. It's just not nearly as early as I typically. It's taking my time. Okay. Buy this book. I've bought multiple copies. I highly, highly, highly recommend Brianna Wiest, day 310. You are worthy of love because you are willing to love. That's all it takes. We often think love requires us to tally up all our flaws and all our strengths to see who matches up with who. We often think that if love does not transpire into something long lasting, it's because we are in some way lacking something that would make us a more clear and obvious choice. Love almost never works like that. We connect with who we connect with. It's mysterious. It's a force from within us and beyond us, and it rarely ever makes sense until we're reviewing it in all retrospect. Sometimes our hearts and bodies Sometimes our hearts and bodies know things before our brains can rationalize them. And one of the hardest things is to see if we will trust that, if we will believe in that, if we will pursue that. Sometimes doors close even when we beg them to stay open because we are being protected from what we cannot yet see. We meet people, it's electric, and we can't understand why. Sometimes we are just not ready for that, and that's okay too. Sometimes there's someone or something else waiting on the other side. Sometimes we're not quite the people we need to be to sustain that level of connection. Love is not always linear. Gosh, golly geez. Isn't that fantastic for this February 14th of 2024, year of our Lord, or whatever year it is? I bet, see, you should buy this book. I recommend you buy this book and then read it again and again and again, slowly, quickly. It's fantastic. Okay, those are my books. Is that really, am I really not going to read any Bible in the morning devotions? It seems so strange. I'm going to read Matthew though, and I'm going to read Genesis today. If I can get that all done. And if I take, yeah, it's okay, Emily. You should not be judging yourself. God is not judging you. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I will make the most of it, and I need to get going in order to do that. Okay?